Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Rest, and in this video I'm going to be going over my 100% pure melee Amara build. This is going to be based all around the new Mayhem 11 and all around her new skill tree. If you remember back before the one punch Amara build, this is essentially that, but beyond better. This is going to allow you to one-shot nearly every single enemy in the game with just a melee attack. Now, since it's pure melee, we can use things like the face puncher or the fish slap, just anything that's going to be based around melee damage, but you don't have to. And if you just want to go in fist blazing alone, you can definitely do that as well. So if that interests you, as always, my builds are located in my Discord channel if you'd like to download them. The link to the Discord will be in the description. If you download the build, enjoy the video, find it helpful in any way, consider subscribing and dropping a like. It's free and it's what allows me to keep making videos like this for you guys. But with all that being said, I hope you enjoy this crazy build. Alright, so for the gear for this build, all you're going to really need is a Psycho Stabber. This is going to be your main punch weapon. As you see, we have, while on a 50% health, you get 150% bonus radiation damage. This is really good because if you don't know, this anoint actually does work with pretty much everything in the game, and it scales to Mayhem level, so you get more damage with your melee, more damage with your action skill, just everything, and it gives an insane damage bonus. And plus, radiation is really good against flesh and shields. The main throwaway for a melee build, especially on a higher Mayhem level, is the fact that your elements can't really take down the health bars it needs to. So for this build, we're focused doing every single bit of elemental damage on one melee hit. Plus, one of Amara's new skill points is actually going to make this even better than it already is. So the main weapon, like I said, is the Psycho Stabber. With 340% more melee damage, this recently got a buff, and it has just made this thing absolutely insane. Now, for the face puncher, exact same anoint. This is just for a range target, or if you need to fight a boss, you can use the face puncher. The Psycho Stabber can absolutely solo a boss. You're just gonna have to just keep punching it over and over again, but I know some people like to play like that. But if you want to go faster, you can definitely just use the face puncher and kill him with ease. And a thing to help the face puncher out is a Berserker White Elephant. Essentially, when you melee an enemy, you're gonna get more fire rate, and you're gonna apply sticky bombs to the enemy, which do an insane amount of damage and can just easily let you farm bosses like Grave Ward just like that. Like, it's very, very simple. All you gotta do is equip this, use the face puncher, and you're good to go. Now, what we're using to make these anoints work is the front loader right here. Now, I know the front loader on a melee build seems interesting, but this one we have an anoint where you get 200% more melee damage after you use Face Slam. This is a Face Slam focused build, and the front loader is what is allowing you to proc the anoints. You're going to have a huge shield, but not a lot of health. But actually on Amara, you're still going to have a decent amount of health with some of her skills. But you're always going to have this anoint proc get an insane amount of damage. And with the recent change to where enemies actually don't use Mayhem level 10 weapons, you don't really die as much anymore with this build, especially with things that are going to help with your damage reduction, and that is things like the Breaker class mod. And this class mod is not even that good with the stats I have on it, but you can already see the potential that this build has. This has more weapon damage, more Vladov weapon accuracy, and 6 grenade capacity. Now, the Breaker is really good because the closer you are to an enemy, you can get up to 29% damage reduction, and paired with Help at Hands, this gives you an insane amount of damage reduction. The main benefit for the Breaker is that you get plus 1 point in Find Your Center, which is going to give you additional 100% bonus melee damage, which is really, really nice, and it's going to allow you just to constantly one-shot things over and over again. Now, other class mods will work. If you want to run something like a Muse, you can, or a Dragon class mod might also work as well. But personally, I just like the Breaker for the damage reduction you get, and that just simple 100% bonus melee damage. Now, the 6 grenade capacity does help out because we're going to be running the fish slap, and if you don't know, the fish slap is essentially just a grenade that does melee damage, and it's stuck at level 57 because it's from the cartel event. And unfortunately, if you don't have one, you can't get one until that event comes back around, unless somebody, gives you one or whatever. But if you have this grenade can absolutely destroy everything in the game. Like, this is a bossing grenade, a mobbing grenade. It will kill everything. It is disgusting how good this grenade is, being that it is only level 57, and that is because it scales off your melee damage, and it gets all your melee bonuses, and it's just insane, honestly. Like, I don't even have any other words to put it. But we have the Corrosive Stone static charge. Speaking of the melee bonuses, this is giving you 80% bonus corrosive damage when you melee an enemy, and then also the static charge. When you slide, you build up a static charge that, basically is a brainstormer. It has 50% bonus shock damage based on your melee. It's very, very good for ad clear. And if you can tell, we have corrosive and shock melee damage right here. Then we have the Psycho Stabber giving you radiation damage, and then on the grenade we have on axe skill, and you get 50% bonus cryo damage, which does also apply to melee. And then for the incendiary damage, we're going to be running Soul Fire. with Illuminated Fist and Infusion. So that is all 5 elements on one gun, one melee. Is going to do everything and just absolutely just kill everything with one shot. Now, getting into the skills, it's pretty simple stuff. Essentially what you would normally have for a melee build is what we're going to use for this. The main thing is our new skill tree, which I'll get into last, but I'm going to quickly just go through Brawl real quick if everybody wants to see it. So 5 points of Root to Roz, which is giving you 40% more max health, which actually is going to help with the front loader because you're going to have around 10,000 health, 14,000 right here, just because you have points in this. So your front loader is supposed to reduce your health by a lot, give you shields. This is basically just going to give you somewhat of normal health, including a huge shield. Now, 3 points of personal space from the class mod. This isn't really going to do anything, but I have 5 points of arms deal, which is going to be 20% more splash damage and 40% splash damage resistance. This is going to pair really, really well with one of our new skills and our new skill tree. 5 points to help enhance give you 40% damage reduction. This pairs really well with our class mod, like I said earlier. And since, like I said, the enemies don't have Mayhem 10 weapons, you're going to have a lot of damage reduction, and the enemies just won't be doing much damage in the first place. So it makes this a really tanky build as well. Now, 3 points of Mindfulness, so we get more movement speed and shield regeneration delay when we take damage. This is also a very good survivability skill, and since you're running melee, you can get closer to an enemy and just keep punching them over and over again. We're going to be running Fracture, because if you don't know, Fracture does proc Face Slam Annoyance. So this is a 28-second cooldown, but the Face Slam normally is a 35 seconds, so this one's just a shorter cooldown, and you're going to be able to keep rocking your Annoyance over and over again. Now, I also have 1 point Fighting Center, and it's getting, buffed with +1 with the class mod, so 200% more melee damage, really, really good. Plus, this also does extend your melee range whenever you use your action skill, which is also really, really good. So 5 points more with nature, so you get more max health, more elemental damage resistance. So this is also just another very good survivability skill, more max health, and then you'll be running soul fire, so you have incendiary damage resistance. Now, I have 1 point Guardian Angel because I need to get to the bottom. This is just a pretty good skill. If you ever go down, you get right back up. And it's just, it works really well with this playstyle because you're going to be up close, literally punching everything. And if you die, you, like I said, you can just get back up. Now, 1 point in Blitz. Now, this is giving you another 100% melee damage. But Blitz is really good. So since you're going to be one-shotting everything, you can actually just zoom around the map, literally, punch an enemy dead, and dash, punch an enemy dead, and dash, punch an enemy dead. It's a constant thing. It's going to keep getting reset because when you actually get a melee kill, it resets the cooldown. It's normally an 8-second cooldown, so if you just constantly are getting melee kills over and over again, you're never going to have a cooldown, which is kind of crazy. This skill is very, very fun, and it works really, really well with this build. Now, in Fist of Elements, I have 2 points in Infusion and 3 points in Steady Hands, so I need to get right here to get to Illuminated Fist and the Soulfire Axe element. Illuminated Fist is just giving you 75% bonus melee damage and converts whatever melee damage you're doing to your axe skill element. So now that is, like I said, where you have an all 5, and plus Infusion also gives you some too. 5 points of Tempest, so we get more elemental damage and even more shock damage. It's just really good skill for Amara. Now, getting into her new skill tree, this is where things start to get really, really interesting. So we have 5 points in Heavy Rain, which gives you more projectile speed and splash damage. The splash damage is what you really want. Projectile speed doesn't really matter, but the splash damage on top of what Arms Deal is giving you, you're getting a 55% splash damage bonus, and we're going to be doing a ton of splash damage with this build with one of our skills later on. Now, I have 5 points in No Mistakes in Nature, so whenever Amara inflicts a status effect element, you get 65% bonus melee damage. Now, this is a elemental melee build, so you're doing all 5 elements, you're always going to be applying these status effects over and over again, so you're always going to have 65% more melee damage. This is very, very good for 5 points. Now, 3 points in Ebb and Flow because I need to get to the bottom, but this is going to give you 63% lifesteal whenever you kill an enemy. This is kind of whatever. If you want to put it and go with the flow, you can, but you don't really ever freeze enemies because you're going to be one-shot enemies, and you don't really want your shield to ever come down with trusting yourself. So that's why I just throw it in here. It can help out. I think it personally can help out more than either of these skills, but it's not going to be doing that much, but you have to get it to the bottom. So 3 points in Unweave the Rainbow. So whenever you freeze an enemy, you're going to get splash damage and melee damage. Again, you kind of have to just get down to the bottom for this skill tree. If you ever do freeze an enemy, these two skills will, work very, very well, but normally you're going to be one-shotting everything. So 1 point Combo Breaker, so whenever you get a melee kill, you have a 20% chance to reset your axe skill cooldown. So your Face Slam is a 28-second. This is going to have a 20% chance just to immediately reset it so you can hit it again and keep reprocking your anoints over and over again. It is insanely good. I would argue that this skill is broken, and it just makes this build, what was already insane, just even better. Now, to help with that, you can be run expedite. So if you don't get lucky, every kill you get with your face slam, which will be able to kill people, it's going to add a 30% cooldown per enemy killed. So if you kill a lot of enemies with this, you can really start to ramp up that cooldown rate. This is just going to help out a little bit. It's not going to be the greatest, but honestly, the other augments that you have to choose from, this is just probably going to be the best. But that is going to help out with cooldown as well. Now, 5 points in Joyful Freedom. So whenever we use our action skill, we're getting 70% bonus melee damage on top of what our anoints already doing. So that's 270%. And we're going to be applying a status effect, because Fracture is going to apply a status effect. So that's giving you 65% more melee damage. And the melee damage you get just by popping one action skill, it's just insane. Then of course you have the Combo Breaker to reset the action skill to just keep doing it over and over again, and it's just melee damage on top of melee damage. Now we have 3 points in Body and Mind, so whenever we kill an enemy, Amara deals bonus splash damage for a short time, and that's if on your melee damage. So now all that stuff I've been talking about with melee, now it's doing splash damage, and this with the static charge is going to make the ad clear of this build crazy as well. You have static charge, shock and everything, then you have this just blowing your target up, and you just start to kill enemies around you with just punching one enemy in front of you. Body Mind is another broken skill, honestly, in my opinion, and it also works with the face puncher and the fish slap, so you can just spam novas everywhere, just constantly over and over again, and kill literally everything. But even if you're not doing that, it works really well with the Psycho Stabber. You just one punching enemies, and like I said, it makes the ad clear just really, really good. Now finally, 1 point in Clear Your Mind. So this is also another kill skill. When Amara kills an enemy, she ignores elemental damage resistance for a short time, and this lasts 8 seconds. So since you're doing all 5 elements with one melee, this is letting you ignore whatever they resist. So now you would normally run this so you have all 5 elements just in case they do resist something, so you can still kill them. But with this skill, you have all 5 elements and they don't resist anything. So now you're doing 5 forms of damage, and it's getting full damage, and it's just gonna let you just one-shot things even easier than the previous build. Enlightened Force skill tree has completely changed melee builds up, and it is absolutely disgusting. But that is going to do it for the Mayhem 11 pure melee Amara build. Another thing I will mention is the fact that Mayhem 11 is a thing. It's also going to make a lot of other builds stronger than they previously were. A thing that really held builds back was, Mayhem 10 and its modifiers. So now you have no modifiers, so you don't have to worry about buddy systems or just anything annoying. You now can just immediately just go punch everything and everything's going to die. Like I said, you don't have to worry about just any of that nonsense. The great thing about this build as well is that it doesn't require much gear at all. You really just need a Psycho Stabber and some bonus melee damage gear, and you'll be doing just fine. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this build. Definitely stick around. I'm going to be posting more soon all around her new active skill. Her new active skill is absolutely crazy, and there's just stupid things that you can do with it. But that's going to do all for this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Prada Bay, run away, don't go. I'm in hell, might as well just go. Losing track, don't take my soul. I'm in first, you too late, you